Alright, it's a Euro trip time. Time for partying, sightseeing, a strange encounter that results in death and destruction. Wait, what kind of movie is this? Hello and welcome to Sci-Fi-Night. I'm your host, Sebastian Vendel Martinez, and this is a show where we check out some of the lesser known sci-fi and horror movies out there and let you know what to expect in them. So, in this episode, we're checking out our very first found footage movie. Afflicted is a 2013 found footage horror film written, directed by, and starring the real-life friend duo Derek Lee and Cliff Prowse. The two, using their real names for the characters they're portraying, play two friends and film students who set off to Europe for a trip around the continent and plan on doing a travel vlog for this trip.
We are going to film the entire thing. We are going to post it online as the world's greatest video travel vlog ever. We're calling it Ends of the Earth.
After meeting a mysterious woman, Derek seems to get infected with something, which seems to at first grant him strength and abilities.
Come on, man, you can do it. Holy shit!
But later delves into a much darker condition. This leads Derek and Cliff on a quest to find a cure, or quite possibly die trying. And that's where I'm gonna cut it short, because you're really better off not really knowing anything more about Derek's condition and what exactly has afflicted him. So by now I'm sure many of you are sick or found footage films.
You're sure?
Yes, I am sure.
And admittedly, I'm kind of one of those too, but this is definitely not your run-of-the-mill found footage film. The very setup of these two being film students recording a travel vlog, as well as the later addition of body cams, makes the actual filming much more natural, and the found footage getup doesn't feel forced like it does in a lot of other films. The way the story unfolds, and more specifically what's happened to Derek, is actually really cool and interesting, and I loved their unique presentation of something we've seen 1,000 times before, done in a way that felt much more fresh. I feel like a lot of this comes down to the film being such a genuine passion project from Lee and Prowse, who really put their all into it.
Jade is to ward off evil spirits. It can never be bought for yourself. It must be given by another. So Cliff.
I actually read that the budget for this film was only around $300,000, which is fucking nothing, especially when you take into account the stunts and effects that we see later on.
Going 60K, which is like 40 miles an hour. How do you explain that? I don't know.
And yeah, believe me, when you see some of the stuff that happens later on in the movie, you will be surprised as to how they managed to do so much with so little money. Utilizing body cams makes for some extremely cool and exciting sequences, especially when Derek starts getting his, well, let's say powers, and being pursued by authorities. The film has a real energetic pace, and unlike many other films of its type, the second half is actually way better than the first and truly elevates the film completely. Also, some people seem to be disappointed in that it isn't that scary, but it's not really a horror film. It's more of a mystery thriller with horror elements to it, and I'm super happy with that.
Dirk, is that you?
Yeah, I know, I'm not really giving that much away, but I saw this film basically knowing nothing about it, and I'm really glad I did because it really did help my experience. Admittedly, I didn't really have the highest expectations for this, as found footage horror is dime a dozen these days, and truly good flicks are hard to come by, but I feel that the creativity and inventive filmmaking elevates this film regardless of any preconceived notions, and I love this dynamic filmmaking duo.
I don't know if you guys saw that or not back home, but that was absolutely unbelievable.
Okay, so before I start just flat out blowing this film, what should you expect from it? Fresh found footage. As I've said, this is a very fresh take on found footage in a way that feels natural and well integrated into the story. Not only that, but some of the stunts and effects they pull off with this technique really had me scratching my head, wondering how they pulled it off. In this day and age, it takes a lot for a found footage film to stand out, but Lee and Prowse did a damn good job at making this flick unique.
She comes in, she hits me in the head, everything goes hazy, and the next thing I know, you guys are rushing in, so...
Great talent. I really can't stress how impressed I am by these two guys. They more or less carry the film entirely on their own, and from a clever screenwriting to the great stunts and effects to the actually really satisfying ending, it's downright criminal that these two haven't made any film since, because they definitely deserve a second shot with a higher budget, and I for one am already longing for anything these two cook up.
Going away for an entire year, I'm going to need someone to watch my back. I need someone who would take a bullet for me. That's Cliff.
An overlooked gem. I got lucky stumbling upon this because I would have easily missed it if it hadn't been brought to my attention. This is a film that deserves way more attention than it's gotten, if nothing else for the passion and talent these two filmmakers have. The movie has won a few awards at smaller film festivals, and pretty much all the reviews on IMDb praise the film. Despite that, it's only got a 6.3, which is so much lower than it should have. Genre fans need to check out and support this film, and I'm super glad that I bought the DVD anyway.
This is very optimistic of you.
Okay, so I've hyped this film up quite a bit, but obviously it isn't completely without its flaws either. Alright, so for as great as the filmmaking is, some of the acting and dialogue isn't really quite as hot. The first half hour or so isn't really that interesting or unique, but then again it only serves to make the second half and the big reveals even more cool. While the found footage style is integrated well, there are a couple of moments that aren't that natural, but overall I don't have a whole lot of negatives for this movie. It was a pleasant surprise made by talented and passionate filmmakers with a clear love for what they do, and I sure as hell am afflicted with love for this movie.
Oh my God, your eyes! Oh, Jesus Christ! I don't know.
So that about does it for this episode of Sci-Fi-Night. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, you should let us know what you thought of the movie Afflicted in the comments below, as well as this episode, and give us some suggestions for future content as well. So as always, I'm your host, Sebastian Vendel Martinez, and I'll catch you guys next time.
What's it like? You just lifted a car, come on.
I don't know what's going on.